I'm so glad that there is so many young, energetic person in this conference today. We launched the Learning Planet Festival. The first event was with Stefania and Audrey Azoulay in UNESCO headquarters last year. There were a few hundreds of people in the room. Today, there is hundreds of organizations joining the movement. And it's so great to see, so many energy and so many nice, smiling people around this table and across the Learning Planet events that are happening these very days as we speak. And I think that, the whole perspective of the Learning Planet is that we can learn so much faster if we learn from each other. And if we can learn from one country to the next, and the diversity of countries that is presented here, the diversity of projects, if, the various projects that you carry were to get integrated, I think they would be even more powerful. And so the beauty of, having all of you here is that, we can learn from you, but, you can probably also learn from each other, and we can maybe get the whole world to know about what you do and to learn faster. How do we face challenges? How do we face personal challenges, collective challenges, global challenges? How do we care for oneself, others, and the planet? That's really what we want to learn from you. I'm glad that we see already so much energy, different parts of the world, but same energy in everywhere. And every time, the will to contribute to a sustainable future, to learn to do things, and not only to learn, but, to start teaching and training others and starting movements. And I think that's absolutely key, because I think, for change to happen at scale, we have to have that sort of autocatalytic properties where, what is done somewhere gives an inspiration for others to do even more. And that's, in order to face the global challenges we have, I think we need all sorts of little bricks, but we also need to be able to share those bricks and reassemble them. And, the ability, for instance, of Moses to make nice little video to describe what he does so that it can inspire others, or what we just heard from Din Long, the ability to train the trainers. I think they're all means of making not only nice things, but things that can scale and things that can be shared. The Youth Cafe is in the same spirit of, mobilizing ever more communities and engaging progressively people to come together and do things that, you could not do alone. So I'm really glad, and, I don't want to be too long, and I'll pass it to Stefania. We're here to listen to you rather than, give long speeches. I'm quite amazed by the quality and diversity of what we've heard, but also the complementarity of what we've heard. And I can't help thinking, what would happen if all those initiatives were available to a given young person, actually to every young person on the planet. Okay, so what if you could, learn to design your own initiatives in Design for Change, and then learn to use the technology like you're doing in Russia, and learn to, be empowered and become a young change maker and be able to tell your own story in poetry, like we've heard from Ashoka, young change maker. And, what if you could co-design with your friends, the next stage of your education, like in Youth by Youth? And what if you could start voting on, the future of education, like we've heard in Électeurs en Herbe and, this young voters movement? What if all those fantastic bricks of innovation were to be assembled to be able to, take education to the next stage? What if, a new generation was educated by benefiting from all of this? And one of the person asking on the chat was asking, is there a place to have all those beautiful innovations? And, if it doesn't exist, the Learning Planet is definitely one of the places where we'd be very happy to invite you to share what you do, celebrate it and document it, and allow others in this open source spirit to start using it to take it to the next stage. And I think that indeed, there were other sessions this morning on, what if you could ask for a new right? And that's, more or less what we heard from Zineb. One right could be, I want to write my own education curriculum. But there might be new rights that we've heard also this morning, like, I want a decent climate. I want a clean air. I want, beautiful nature to still be alive when my children would be themselves born and become young adults and so on. And so I think it's a movement that is just appearing in various places around the world. And the question for me is, you know, some of your programs have already impacted millions, and I'm quite impressed by the people that, you know, have done this, and I happen to know some of them, and I'm really, I can appreciate the quality of what they've done. But what we do know is that we have to care for billions of children. So the basic question is, you know, how do we scale those wonderful programs from million to billions? And, you know, how do we create the ecosystem where these things can spread at least as fast as a virus? You know, we've heard from the Design for Change founder this morning, Kiran, that, you know, she wants to spread the ICANN virus. Okay, and, you know, one of the questions we also had on the chat was, you know, what would you say to a young person that feel, you know, powerless? Well, I guess you can try to tell her about the ICANN virus, but, you know, what matters is the we can virus. And I think, you know, this we can, this ability to do collectively things that we cannot do alone is what can really contribute. And in order to face this challenging situation, you know, one of my favorite quotes is, you know, to have the courage to change what you can change, and to have the serenity to accept what you cannot change, and the wisdom to distinguish the two. Okay, and already the Stoics and Marcus Aurelius were thinking like this. But the question is, you know, what we can change alone and what we can change collectively is very different. So I think if you want to be wise and be able to understand what it is that you can really change, you have to learn from others how to work with them and how to together do things that would have been completely impossible alone. Like, you know, fixing climate change, none of us can do it alone, but collectively we have a chance of making a difference. And that's, I think, what we should aim for. And so that's the sort of things that when I hear you, I feel very hopeful that this becomes possible, because then this can be combined with already what we heard before, like the Youth Collab and the Youth Cafe and the Climate Youth. I mean, all those wonderful initiatives and hundreds of others that, you know, we could not have in this one session, but that are existing around the world. You know, what can we do to help connect people that have similar dreams and similar projects? And actually, one of the things that we're trying to do in the Learning Planet is to train artificial intelligence to be at the service of youth intelligence. And imagine if, you know, when you have a project in Nairobi, you could connect to the closest project to yours that is in Brazil or that is in Cambodia. And that is actually becoming possible. We are building a sort of a GPS of project and a GPS of dreams to be able to do what John Lennon was dreaming of when he was mentioning that, you know, if you may be a dreamer, but you're not the only one. And if you can connect to people that share the same dreams, you can start having a chance of making your dreams have a real impact and be able to change the world at scale.